Hey everybody, it's GobletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'll be playing another Magic 30 mixed up Premier Draft, which is Magic Arena's alternative to a Chaos Draft. Basically just a bunch of cards from a ton of different sets, all mixed together into very jumbled up booster packs, where you're really just trying to find a bunch of really high quality cards, mash those together, and make some random nonsense pile better than your opponent's random nonsense pile. So we've got a good start to that with Mythos of Aluna, which is pretty good even just in blue, being a clone that makes a token copy of the best permanents on board. But if we're in blue, red, and green, and this format can get pretty splashy, as you can see with these dual lands, then we can also have that permanent fight something when it hits the board, making it a really spicy 2-for-1 as well. So I'm going to go with Mythos here. We could also go with Blood Tithe Harvester, which is very good if we go red-black, even with just the one blood token. This can give -2/-2 to something. Or Dockside Chef can be a good value play throughout the game. But we'll start with Mythos of Aluna here and see where we can go from there. And kind of awkward to see this as my next pack, because Slimefoot the Stowaway is my favorite card in this pack by a lot, and it's very far from Mythos of Aluna. But a 3-mana 2/3 that has a really good mana sink, spitting out saplings over and over, and draining your opponent for life whenever you're chumping with those saplings or anything, is really, really good. Lordrakis is also pretty good. It was excellent in Ikoria when you could draft a bunch of mutate cards. We can't really do that here. This will be our only one, probably. But we can still mutate this onto a different creature, just to pick up an instant or sorcery like a Mythos, put it back on our hand. Could also just take Shock. If I want to roll with Mythos and play as safe as possible, Shock is probably better than Lordrakis by a little bit, but these two are definitely the follow-ups to Mythos. I'm going to go crazy here and just take Slimefoot, though. I'm just going to take the best card, regardless of colors, and see where that brings me if I just keep taking the best card. I don't know if Lauren is the best card. Lauren would be in Brothers War Draft, where there were artifacts everywhere. This format, there's definitely less artifacts and enchantments, but still a chunk for sure. Any game where she does hit the board and blow something up is going to be incredible. Don't know. Elfheim Druid's going to be pretty great in any green deck, just a nice mana ramp card. If I take a blue card, Chillbringer is really nice. 5 mana for a 3/3, stun something down for a turn. Hard choice. I think Lauren might be the best card by a tiny bit, but Elfheim Druid goes great with Slimefoot, whereas Chillbringer goes great with Mythos, and these are both very, very strong as well. I think I might go Chillbringer. I really liked that in Ravnica Allegiance. It's definitely one of the strongest cards in that pack, and now Aviation Pioneer is probably one of the best. We'll take another look. Caretaker's probably pretty good in this format. Mana fixing and mana ramp, but you have to have multiple creatures on board to use it. Nothing else looking super exciting. Yeah, Aviation Pioneer I think is where it's at. 3 mana for a 1/2 and a 1/1 Thopter. 2 creatures off 1 body. One of them is flying, which is great in this format. Big fan of Pioneer. Winged Portent is cool, but it's somewhat of a win more card where it's going to help you out only if you already have a really good board state, like if you already have a ton of creatures. But this is a format where board stalls certainly exist, so if you are in blue and green, being able to just draw a bunch of cards when you're in a board stall could be beneficial, but I think Aviation Pioneer is just more consistent. It's going to be good in pretty much any position. Alright, I'm very happy to be in blue, so while there's definitely a path to take with Slimefoot here, I don't think so far it looks as strong as how lucky we've gotten with Chillbringer into Aviation Pioneer into Sleep with the Fishes, because Sleep with the Fishes is the strongest card in this pack for sure. It's 4 mana to lock a creature down. You tap the creature and make it so it can't untap as long as Sleep with the Fishes is on the board. And you get a 1/1 unblockable fish, so it's a really good 2-for-1 card, giving you an evasive threat that's going to keep chipping away at your opponent while also locking down their best creature. Pack 1, pick 6. This pack looks very bad overall. Cradle of Safety is good if you have some creatures that really need to be protected. We don't right now. Bladebrand's good if you have a bunch of little creatures. Like, it's good with a Slimefoot if I go blue, black, green, I guess. overall it's not very exciting, and the rest of these cards just don't really do anything. Especially the rare Titan's Nest. You can exile cards from your grave to get colorless mana. I guess I just take Cradle of Safety. I'm not very pumped about that, but we can just keep cutting blue, I guess. Pack 1, pick 7. Navigator's Compass is mediocre fixing, but it is fixing for whatever you end up in. Argothian Sprite's got a great mana sink attached to it, and Mythos wants us to be blue-green, Slimefoot wants us to be blue-green-black. So if we take Sprite, that goes towards blue-green-red or blue-green-black. Whereas taking a black card obviously only goes towards blue-green-black, and none of these black cards are good, really, in this format. So I'll take Argothian Sprite. 3 mana, 3/3 on curve is always fine. This combat trick's also okay. Untap a creature, give it +2/+2 or +3/+3 or something. I don't think Drawer's Familiar is great. In Chaos, I'll take Perimeter Patrol. Mightstone's animation seems pretty bad in Chaos, but you've got 1 artifact to go with it right now and not likely to get a ton more. Senate Courier's fine, but we're probably not playing white, so it's just a 1/4 flyer. Moonsnare Prototype, 5 mana, put an on-land permanent on top or bottom isn't terrible. But it's a bit overcosted, I think. I'd rather just take a green-black duel if we try to go the Slimefoot splash path. We got the lower Dracus back, and it's the best card in this pack by quite a bit. So we take it. Maybe blue, red, green, Mythos of Aluna stuff. Ooh, wow, Thieving Otter's still in here. It is kind of hard to get a 2/2 to consistently hit your opponent, but if you do get it to, this is a game-winning amount of card advantage. If you hit your opponent like 3 times with this, that's just absurd. 3 mana, 2/2, draw 3. Glimmer Bell's perfectly reasonable. Little flyer here. Befuddle's also okay, but kind of a lot of mana. I'm really happy to be in blue, I can tell you that much for sure. So we're almost definitely blue-green, we're just deciding which way we're splashing, in the Mythos of Aluna Lord Dracus direction, or just the Slimefoot direction. And Lord Dracus technically can be cast off just mono blue if we're mutating it, which we probably are most of the time. Just putting this onto Glimmer Bell or something to pick up an instant or sorcery from our grave. Alright, this is one of the most reasonable looking piles of cards I've had going out of pack 1. Got a pretty clear path here while still having options. Like, we're definitely blue, almost definitely blue-green, splashing black or red. Maybe even both. If we get like really good fixing. This isn't playable, is it? Mill 5, return 1 card of the 5? No. It's like a more expensive version of Impulse, unless we have a bunch of graveyard synergies. Then it could be okay if I had like a ton of Unearth, then it's like dump a bunch of Unearth cards and pick up a card. Alright, pack 2, pick 1. Triple red is so difficult. Triple red and 1 to do 8 damage to 1 target. Triple red and 2 to do 8 damage divided as I choose among 2 targets. It's 5 mana total. Yeah, at 5 or 6 mana, this is pretty incredible. Right? Kill 2 4 toughness cards, or maybe kill 2 3 toughness cards and a 2 toughness card. This is insane. And the blue cards aren't great. Deadeye Quartermaster's not going to do anything, and Unsummon is good, but not insane. I guess I should take Meteor Swarm here, and now we're trying to go blue-red splash green instead of blue-green splash red, because triple red is not splashable. We need red as a core color of the deck. Alright, incredible blue cards here. Good gravy. We're happy to see that. Maybe you can even just take the Guildgate and wheel the best one of these, because I have such a difficult mana cost on Meteor Swarm, and that card is so powerful. It is really important to find the fixing to be able to cast it. So this is a bit bold, but I think I'm going to take Meteor Swarm here. And if any of these 3 cards come back between Dimir, Informant, Frostlinks, and Imprisoned in the Moon, I'll be very happy. I feel like there's a lot of splashy nonsense going on in these Premier drafts in terms of what I've seen my opponents playing. So I just feel like the odds of us getting one of these back is much more likely than us getting the Guildgate back, and the difference in power level between a Frostlings and an Informant is not very high. Whereas if I take one of these and don't get the Guildgate back, that is incredibly detrimental. So I'm going to just guarantee we get the Guildgate and hope we get one of those two back. Now we can take, God, the blue is so good in this draft pod. I'm going to take Cloudkin Seer, 3 mana, 2/1 flyer, and we draw a card. But Callous Dismissal is another very reasonable option. 2 mana to bounce any non-land permanent and get a 1/1. Such a good deal. Such a cheap little bounce creature, like a Mana War style bounce creature. But Cloudkin Seer, again, 3 mana, 2/1 flyer, plus draw a card, also an incredible deal. Immediate 2-for-1. These blue cards are just absurd in this draft pod. I'm so happy to be in that color. Pack 2, pick 4, we've got Pima Outrider, I think is the best card between blue, green, and red. Again, I'm really trying to get enough red to Meteor Swarm, though. There's a Speedway Fanatic for a 2 mana, 2/1 haste. Not great. Opt could sort of help us find the right lands. It can, like, sort of fix us. And Dalakos doesn't really do anything unless we've got some big artifacts, which we don't. I think I take Opt. Alter the Pantheon's also some fixing. Pretty mediocre fixing, but I think I prefer like the consistent little scry, draw, setup kind of thing that can also, scry, try to dig for lands. Tempted to just take Pima Outrider and go blue-green at the core and give up on Meteor Swarm, but we'll wait to see if red is really heavily drafted, and it's looking like it is. It's looking like we can't really get the Meteor Swarm going, so I probably do have to push back towards blue-green. 5 mana, 3/4, put an instant or sorcery from your grave back on top of your library is pretty bad. If you put it into your hand, it's pretty good, but it's a 50-50. Don't love that. Zulaport Duelist is also just pretty narrow. I don't like either of these blue cards, and they're the only cards really for us. Crawl Foragers is quite filler. Good. Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. We'll go with the auto-suggester here. It's pretty unlikely we splash white, but both of those blue cards are so filler, and Journey to Oblivion is just really, really excellent removal, so in case something really weird happens, we could take the Journey to Oblivion. So Terrarian's pretty great fixing. We could take that. There's also Omen of the Forge for a great cheap burn spell, 2 at instant speed for 2 damage to any target. Plus we get to scry afterwards. I actually like the Omen of the Forge a lot. Even if red is a splash in the end, like it's looking to end up being, we can splash in a burn spell like that. Well, now there's an Invading Manticore. I was going to call it an Inspiring Manticore, but no. Invading Manticore is a 6 mana, 4/5. We amass zombies too, so 6 mana for a 4/5 and a 2/2. 2 bodies off 1 card is always great. It's really solid, beefy stuff there. Take the Manticore. Razendorf, 2 mana, 1/3 that doesn't do anything. Unknown Shores is fixing, but we have to play off curve to get the mana out of it. Skyclave Squid, really don't like 2 toughness on my defenders. Could take a Lair of the Hydra, even if we're splashing green, that could end up working out fine. I'll take the Lair of the Hydra, it's also a rare. We get a rare draft there, which is cute. This pack's pretty bad. Now, this only works against white or blue, so it's just not going to work at all in some matchups. Just take Infuriate as a combat trick or Impending Doom as a buff. Okay, Atsakan Archer's pretty great. If your opponent has any 1 toughness stuff on board, a 1/4 fighting a 1 toughness card is almost always just going to win that fight. Town Gossipmonger is also really good. I'm surprised that's here so late. Basically a 1 mana 2/3 has to attack each turn of Fable, because you can transform it pretty easy. But we'll take the Archer. Weirding Wood can definitely help get the Meteor Swarm in if we're blue-green at the core. And it's good value. Like, it's mana ramp, that also gives us a clue to replace itself later in the game. Alright. It is kind of turning out that way where we are the blue-green splash red, but maybe we're blue-green splash red and get to splash Meteor Swarm? Not super likely, but maybe. I've got the Guild Gates. And I've got the Weirding Wood. One thing that's worth mentioning that I'm a little sad about is that we didn't wheel any of those good blue cards. All 3 of them were gone. So there's a lot of blue drafters, which is surprising because we got so much quality blue throughout this draft that I would not have expected that, but we are far from the only blue drafter. Okay, now we've got a Deeproot Wayfinder, 2 mana, 2/3, already above curve, plus when it hits our opponent, we surveil one. If we hit a land, put it on the board. Pretty excellent. Rosethorn Acolyte's also really good for us, helping splash in the triple red for Meteor Swarm, and red mana in general. Emergent Sequence is another card that's helpful for splashing. I like all of this stuff a lot. Wayfinder, Sequence, and Rosethorn Acolyte. I want to get some more like 1/2 drops on the curve. Really low on that stuff, so I'll take the Wayfinder. Maybe the Sequence is better, but we'll start with Wayfinder. It's the least likely card to get back, least likely card to wheel. Okay, Vizier doesn't do anything this format. Gale Drifter's fine. I think Rousing Reed is probably the best. 3 mana for an aura. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying, but also when it enters the battlefield, you draw 2, discard 1. So it's like a sorcery draw spell and a flying aura buff all in one. It's a pretty good 2-for-1. Happy to scoop up Rousing Reed, but Blazing Torch is decent. Removal you can put in any deck as well, which is kind of exciting. Ooh, Oasis Ritualist is exactly what the doctor ordered. We can exert this card and get double red off of it, so we just need 1 red source on board to cast a Meteor Swarm if we have a Ritualist out. Actually beautiful. Actually incredible. So happy to see that. This deck's looking pretty sweet, all things considered. What do we have now? Yosha declares war, doesn't really do anything. Forge Devil's just if our opponent has a 1 toughness card. We could... I mean, how much mana fixing did I get right now? I have Ritualist. I have Weirding Wood. I have 2 mainly. I do have a Jungle Hollow to try to get a black splash in here. I could go all in and take Bloated Processor because it's the strongest card. Just a 3/2 that replaces itself with a 3/3. I guess that's not super powerful off a splash. But I could like throw Slimefoot and Journey and really try to get the splash going, but I'll just take a Tolarian Geyser. Because I can still throw in the Slimefoot and the Journey to Oblivion if I really want to without having to also draft just a 3/2, not the most exciting splash. Jungle Hollow, now... I mean, that's 4 black sources for Slimefoot, because that's 2 Jungle Hollows, Oasis Ritualist, and Weirding Wood minimum. Yeah, that's 4 black sources without putting a swamp in here, so without making our main colors any worse. I like Jungle Hollow. Rejuvenator's also cool. I think Jungle Hollow is a little better, but Rejuvenator could get that Journey to Oblivion splash in a little more easily. What are we doing here? I don't really like Raven Form. I think I'm doing okay on removal, mainly just because Meteor Swarm, if I ever draw that, is so good. I guess I'm not really playing anything here, though. Maybe a Candle Guide. I'll take a Raven Form, but I would really rather not have to play it, because it is less than a 1-for-1 as a removal spell. You do get rid of their thing, but you give them something back, which is pretty bad. Igneous Inspiration. Yeah, 3 mana, 3 to any target's pretty good. You can also discard a card, draw a card when you play it, or if we manage to find a less in this pack, then we just straight up draw a card when we cast it, which is incredible. Oh my god, speaking of incredible, Demon Bolt. Torrent Sculptor, Flamethrower Sonata, these are fine, but not great. They're both kind of narrow. Demon Bolt is just excellent removal. Take the Demon Bolt. Crypt of the Eternals is just a more narrow version of Shimmering Grotto, which is not great. Yep, Demon Bolt it is. Now we have Hollow Henge Scavenger, I guess. 5 mana 4/5, gain some life if something died. Could play a Cogwork Archivist or Fertilid's Favor. Not super pumped about either of those. Alright, pretty much nothing here. Squire's Devotion is the best card by a lot. Really good aura. +1/+1 lifelink and get a 1/1 lifelinker. Just rare draft, I guess. Nothing for our colors again. Nothing really for our colors. Could mill my opponent for fun, but I only do it once, so it's not going to matter. We'll take an adaptation. But I'm probably cutting that. I'm going to start with that Candle Guide cut, but it is an option to help the splashes. Alright, this is going to be a very splashy deck here. Blue, green, red, splashing black, pretty much. So we currently have 47 cards here. I don't think this is a deck that really needs to worry about creature versus non-creature count. We're not trying to be super aggro. We're like ramping up into some nonsense potentially. Just trying to fix into Meteor Swarm for crazy stuff, but other than that, some beef on the curve, some flyers. I guess I should still keep the creature count pretty high so we can actually just tempo out with our blue stuff in our average game. Dropping some flyers throughout the curve, trying to win with mythoses and sleeps and stuff. So yeah, let's check that creature count. We are at 15 creatures right now, but that is not counting our Sleep with the Fishes, our Mythos of Aluna, putting us up to 17. I can still definitely cut a couple of these. So I think I'm going to cut probably like 2 creatures and 5 non-creatures here. So Lord Dracus is a 2-mana mutate. So I guess Lord Dracus doesn't really count as a creature because it's more of a mutate than anything. To return an instant or sorcery, trying to get lucky and return a Meteor Swarm or a Mythos. So we need a non-human on board to use this. And it doesn't give us another creature. We're just mutating onto something we already have, so I guess I should probably only cut like 1 creature. And if anything, I probably cut a human. Trying to have as many... Yeah, maybe just 3 mana, 3/3 on curve, or the 1 mana, 1/1 Zulaport Duelist, feel like the cuts. One of those. But yeah, trying to make it as consistent as possible to just put Lord Dracus onto almost anything we have just to pick up one of our really powerful instant resources. So the rest of the creatures I like quite a bit. It's one of these two. And I guess because I've got a really big chunky 3-drop slot, I'll cut the Patrol, keep the Duelist in. And that's our creature cut. And then we cut 6 non-creatures now. Definitely going to keep Opt for consistency. Need to keep the mana fixing of Weirding Wood. Meteor Swarm is like the strongest card in the deck. Igneous Inspiration and Demon Bolt are exceptional removal. Don't look like a super combat trick oriented kind of deck, and Explosive Apparatus is pretty bad in comparison to Meteor Swarm, Inspiration, Demon Bolt, and Omen of the Forge even. Raven Form is also pretty bad compared to all those. Let's drop the Raven Form, let's drop the Explosive Apparatus. Don't think we need Cradle of Safety. Our one card we really want to protect is Slimefoot, but other than that, kind of jamming whatever stuff out we have and trying to win with explosive spells like Mythos and Meteor Swarm. Yeah, I'm not so sure about Cradle of Safety and the combat tricks. So then Rousing Reed and Tolarian Geyser are the 2 potential cuts from that point. Probably Tolarian Geyser, although I think I'd rather just cut Zulaport Duelist still and just have kind of a lower creature count here. Still don't think this thing's going to do too much. I'm going to cut the Duelist and keep the Geyser in as a tempo play. And then this would be our curve. Let's check how the mana's looking. Lord Dracus could just be mono blue. But we need enough red mana to get to Meteor Swarm anyway, so I'm just not super concerned with putting that into my red spell count. I guess, yeah, since I'm trying to get to Meteor Swarm, I'll add it to the red spell count. It's okay if we have a little more red than we need. But yeah, we definitely need blue and green more than anything, since green fixes us and blue is incredibly important. For black sources, all we need are the jungle hollows. And then red sources are going to be awkward. We're pretty much going to need an Oasis Ritualist or a Weirding Wood on board to cast a Meteor Swarm. But either one of those means that Meteor Swarm is castable off of just one mountain, which is so nice. So currently, we have 11 blue spells, 7 green, 6 red. Yep, that looks right. So we have only 6 blue sources right now. That's pretty awkward. 5, 6, 7, 8 green sources. That feels great. 5 red sources. Probably go like 7, 7. I miscounted my green sources. This is 6 green sources if I do that. 6 green, 7 blue, 5 red. This is a little sketchy, but pretty much all of our red cards are late game spells. Even the early game cards like Omen of the Forge, Demon Bolt, and Igneous Inspiration are all removal spells that can still be good later. And again, Lord Drakus can be mono blue. So we can cut down another red source. Again, with only 4 red sources in the deck, we're never going to naturally cast Meteor Swarm, but we have Ritualist and Weirding Wood to get there with the double red. So I'm going to cut that red source for a 7th green, and we'll go 7 green sources, 7 blue sources, 4 red, and I think that's where we want to be. I think that's gonna be the deck. Alright, here's a look at today's deck list, and it's one of the splashiest deck lists we have played so far. We are blue, green, and red at the core of this deck, with some excellent fixing out of green, with Oasis Ritualist and Weirding Wood, as well as some dual lands like Izzet Guildgate for the blue-red fixing, and a couple jungle hollows to help get those black sources for Slimefoot. So at the core, we've just got a lot of pretty powerful blue cards with a bit of a focus on flyers, with Aviation Pioneer, Cloudkin Seer, and Chillbringer, all being excellent ways to get some flying damage going. We've got a Thieving Otter if we've got a really nice board state where we can keep chipping in, and we can potentially draw a lot of cards off that. Glimmer Bell's another flyer in blue. As for our green cards, again, some beefy stuff that can also help fix us. We've got a Deeproot Wayfinder that could help us ramp a little bit with the Surveil ability. Our Gothian Sprite for a decent mana sink. Atsakan Archer could be a nice 2-for-1 if they have a 1 toughness creature on board. And then Ritualist is kind of the MVP for excellent mana ramp with that Exert ability and mana fixing in particular. Hollowhenge Scavenger being some beef, and at the top end, Invading Manticore out of red for some more beef. As for the spells, that's where things get really exciting. We have incredible removal between Demon Bolt, Igneous Inspiration, Omen of the Forge, and Sleep with the Fishes. A really big 2-for-1 removal spell with Meteor Swarm that can sometimes even be a 3-for-1. Really difficult to cast, but with Weirding Wood and Oasis Ritualist, if we draw one of those 2 cards, all we need is 1 mountain to get to the Meteor Swarm. And then, of course, probably our biggest bomb, maybe a little bit behind Meteor Swarm, is Mythos of Aluna, where we can make a copy of the best creature on the board and have it fight an opposing creature when it hits the board. So Mythos should be quite spectacular as well. So those are the super exciting cards. Mythos of Aluna, Meteor Swarm, Mythos of Aluna and Meteor Swarm. And to go with them, we have a Lord Drakus to potentially return one of them back to our hand if we just mutate this onto one of our random creatures. So should be a pretty fun, pretty splashy deck today. So I am just ready to hop into the gameplay, see how it does. Here we are for game 1 with a pretty forced mulligan. No blue source is really bad for us. Quadruple green is also incredibly awkward, but we'll keep this one, get rid of a forest, go down to triple green, I guess. Don't think I can really drop down to 5 here. We've at least got the Igneous Inspiration to deal with their first threat while drawing a card and discarding a card to try to set up our draws. There's an invasion of Pyrulia to start things off, so they get to scry 3, reveal the top. If there's a land or a double-faced on top, they draw that. So they do put a land there. And they are on green-blue for now. There's a Ruin Crab. That's going to be tremendously irritating by itself. It can provide enough mill for them to just mill us out throughout this game, so I'm probably going to have to just inspiration that. Will be quite some time before I cast anything else in my hand, so I think I will need to do that. I mean, if it stays for just 4 more turns, that's 12 more mill. Yeah, I mean, I've had some games in this format come down to almost like mill. And that's with no players milling each other. I've had games come down to somebody having only like 3 cards in the deck, so add in a Ruin Crab, and if this game goes long, we're going to have major issues. Okay, so Omen of the Forge is not enough damage to kill the Vivian's Grizzly, so that gets to stick around for now. And that's a really good mana sink as a card draw engine. Potentially drawing them extra creatures and planeswalkers off the top. And they're going to poke the invasion for 2. If it flips, that's going to be a nightmare. 4/4 trample ward 2 is massive. Okay, they're going to play a Surgical Skull Bomb, immediately cycle it to draw a card, play another land, and pass the turn. I'm going to play the Chillbringer and lock down the Grizzly, because it plays better against removal from them. If I play the Scavenger and they just bounce it back to our hand, they're going to flip the invasion, and we really need that to not happen. So this is a safer way to stop invasion from flipping, because the only way it flips now is that they untap the Grizzly, or they play a haste creature. Both of those seem a lot less likely for a blue-green deck to do. And then that leads into a Manticore next turn to block the Grizzly. Now, since they played a Flyer afterward, that's going to be awkward, because Manticore is not going to help a lot against that, so I have to just hold back the Chillbringer and hope for the best there. But we are at the point now where if they do have the bounce spell or the removal spell to kill the Chillbringer, the invasion is going to get flipped. At least we have the 4/5 now. At least we have the 4/5 now to block the Trample Ward Gargantuan Slabhorn, if it manages to get on the board. So the board is going to force all our creatures to block it. We're going to draw 3, but they're going to be able to flip the invasion. If I play Aviation Pioneer, I can draw 2 more cards, and I can still hold up Demon Bolt and do that. But I guess I'll lose more creatures, because 10 power, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I actually won't. I'll lose the same amount. Yeah, draw 5 instead of draw 3. We actually would have been kind of scared of the prospect of drawing that many cards if that Ruin Crab were still on board. I guess I could have attacked with the Chillbringer here so that I wouldn't have to block the boar. That might have been okay. Since they probably don't trade with Geist, and it can't block anything else anyway. If the Nessian boar attacks. Augur of Bolas finds you happen on a glade. Turns a permanent from their grave to their hands so they can pick up the Nessian board to play it again. That's pretty cute. Okay, this Demon Bolt is going to play exceptionally for us. So this is already enough damage to kill the boar. So we're just going to draw 5, kill the boar, keep probably the Pioneer and the 1/1 on the board. But I can Demon Bolt the Grizzly, and their invasion will not flip then. Oh, and then there's a Sleep with the Fishes for when they replay the boar. Should be spectacular. There's you happen on a glade to pick up the boar, which we expected. I mean, I think we're in the winning position already, just so many cards. Kind of nuts. I can hold up an Omen of the Forge. I don't think there's much point, though, since everything they have has 3 toughness or more. How much mana do I need? I'm not going to sleep with the fishes anything right now. 7 mana would be ideal. Could play Ritualist and Slimefoot, so I guess we do play an untapped land. Yeah, that seems good. Slimefoot and Ritualist. I guess I'm letting them flip Invasion, but it's just a single 4/4, right? It's just a single 4/4. It's not going to be a huge deal. Definitely not worth chump blocking, I think. Because I still have the 4/5 I can play against a 4/4. I don't have the mana to play Sleep with the Fishes and the 4/5 next turn, so I'll get like 1 hit. Ooh, Mossbeard Ancient instead. Drop a 7/7 trample. Now I need to find another removal spell. So I have the 4/5 to deal with the 4/4. I can Sleep with the Fishes and the Mossbeard Ancient, but then I have to find a way to deal with the Nessian Boar. Do I want to do that? Or do I want to save the sleep for the boar? I only need 6 power on board to deal with the boar. I already have 6 power. I also need to not draw my whole deck. I'm at 16 cards right now. I really don't want to have to sleep with the fishes, the boar. 6. I guess I also just need 7 power to deal with the ancients, so Scavenger helps get there. 3 mana afterwards. Play Scavenger, hold up Omen of the Forge. Block the ancient with my 4/5 and my 1/2, I guess. Actually, the 4/5 and the 2/4, and they can only kill one of the 2. Drownyard Amalgam. They're going to mill me 3 and have an unblockable creature. It's a pretty good draw. And they got my Mythos. I think they already milled my Lore Dracus early as well. Yeah. That's a huge bummer. Got rid of my Mythos and my way to recur it with their 2 mill cards throughout this game. Alright, so the Scavenger is holding off the Ancient, which is great for us. There's Meteor Swarm. Eight damage divided as I choose. I do 7 to Ancient and 1 to the Geist, and then finish the Geist off with Omen of the Forge. But then I have to deal with an unblockable Amalgam, so I think I'd rather just do 6 to the Amalgam, 2 to the Geist, finish off with Omen of the Forge. Yeah. I guess Ritualist is going to have to be exerted to get the 4 red mana I need. Okay, red, red, red. 2 targets. Full control so I can spend the mana how I want to. Green, green, because I need the red up. And then here's Omen of the Forge. Get rid of the flyer. Drop the otter, and I had the Sleep with the Fishes for the boar. And then I just keep using Slimefoot. I should have kept hitting with Thopter, but I keep using a Slimefoot in my Thopter. Alright, we have a game plan. Form the seed core. Uh-oh. A pretty good start. I guess it's not a start to the top deck war. We've been top decking back and forth a couple turns here. That is terrifying though. Just take the free kill there and could just take 11. Yeah, I mean, they're green-blue. How much burn are they going to have? Now I can just activate my Lair of the Hydra for an absolutely absurdly big blocker. Maybe I shouldn't have played the Glimmer Bell just to make the layer bigger. Green and X. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a 7/7 layer. 7/7 and a 4/4 blocks the Ancient. Or 7/7 and a 4/5, and they only kill one of the two. Yeah, Lair of the Hydra is nuts here. And then if they don't attack, we just double Slimefoot again. Seems pretty locked up if they don't have some more great ways to get through a board stall. They could have like a Tempest Caller or something. That's like a 4-mana Merfolk that taps all creatures your opponent controls. They have that, we're just dead. Still rather get Saprolings than put 2 counters onto the Sprite. Since they give us some life drain, where we gain life. As long as we don't insta-die before the triggers go on the stack. Three blockers. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's Exactsies if they don't have interaction in their hand, but I'm going to play it safe and I'm going to get one more chip and then they'll be super dead next attack. Okay, so now we know it's Nebelgast Herald. If they tap that, they block 4 things. They would block my Lair if I respond by casting Lair. Or using Lair of the Hydra. They block Lair. They block this, so 1, 2, 3, 4. They take, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 2/2s get in, so 1, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, they're still dead. Maybe I'll just miscount into dying here, but we'll see. That's big enough. They go block, 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 take 1, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They still take like 15, I'm pretty sure. Yep, there we go. We are going to start this draft off 1-0 with a very long game 1, but I guess it's where we want to be when we've got a mana sink like Slimefoot. Here we are on the play for game number 2. Some more pretty awkward mana here. No blue source is rough, but we're guaranteed Argothian Sprite, and we just look like a good Gruul aggro deck here. Argothian Sprite with some cheap burn spells. Strong cards in the hand. Do find another blue card. Pretty much the only thing we don't want, blue spells. There's Doomed Dissenter, which is pretty annoying. There is my blue land. Send in the Sprite. They can block and turn Dissenter into a 2/2 if they want, but they don't. Let's just foretell a Demon Bolt and pass from there. I'm not going to Omen of the Forge a Doomed Dissenter, so if I hold that up, it's just going to be expecting them to play another good 2 toughness card. Well, Deadeye Tormentor's a very good 2 toughness card, but that's because it makes me discard a card when they play it. I don't like Geyser too much against their current board, but could be good against it later. I guess I also don't need another forest right now. This is kind of weird, but I'm going to discard a forest. Well, discard the forest, draw a 4-drop as you do. Obviously don't want to bounce the Tormentor. I don't really need to get aggro here. Probably just holding up on blocks now, holding up Omen of the Forge and Opt, and that's what we'll be doing. Could have opted during my turn in case I hit my land for turn. Might have been better. Let's see if they've got a combat trick here to save the Tormentor. Child of Night, okay. Does not do too much. Opt into Lair of the Hydra. It is our 4th mana, but it's a tapped mana. But it's a creature later as well, so I'll still keep it even though it's tapped. Cool, and we hit a land naturally, so I can play Oasis Ritualist. Ritualist, not Ritualist. Sorry, Rachel's in the chat. I guess YouTube comments. Revel Ruiner. When it enters the battlefield, it connives. So they get to draw a card, discard a Portent Tracker, make it a 4/2. I only need 4 mana right now, so I can drop the Lair. And I don't think anybody's doing anything here. Probably gonna have to Demon Bolt the Revel Ruiner. I don't really want to Geyser it and let them draw a card, discard a card again. Just to have that still be a 4/2. Also, my board state is good enough. I can just double block Revel Ruiner. Oh, this is going to be disgusting. Now I'll really happily Demon Bolt that. Because now we counter Hunt the Week and do this. Oh. Speaking of disgusting. Alright. Ranger's Guile makes that very good. Yeah, that's pretty horrendous. Scry into some goodies. Inspiration to deal with the Revel Ruiner, discard Mountain, draw a card. Could keep the Mountain for my triple red card, but 2, 3. Still have 1 more red source and a mana fixer in the deck. There's only 1 triple red card, so... Wait, why is that the auto tap? I don't know why I let Arena do anything. Doesn't matter, we don't draw into any cheap enough cards to play. I guess they wanted to be able to activate Lair of the Hydra for 0. They want me to be able to make a 0/0 and block with it. I'm getting to a point I probably have to trade into a Child of the Night, which is rough. About 11 now, I go to 9 if I don't just trade here. It's a bullet. Well, we'll bounce that with Tolarian Geyser for sure. And then just take 1 damage next turn. See, why does this auto tap when I do this? Like, that's a better auto tap. Last turn they wanted to go... Oops. Last turn they just left both our green sources up for some reason. Oh no, they're doing it again. Alright, you're so weird, Arena. So weird. Okay, bounce that, draw a card, hit Cloud Conceer. That's an excellent draw. Play that then. Even though it means I'll take 1 instead of 0. And we do hit the Weirding Wood for the next red source if we're going to end up needing that. Take 1, go down to 10. There's Bullet. Mythos of Aluna. Mythos is not great right now. I just make a bullet and kill their Doomed Dissenter. I guess it'd be a 4-4 against their 3-3. So would be fine, it'd be solid. Blue, blue, red, green is what I need up, so I can play Weirding Wood in the same turn I do that. Wait, not if I do this. I think I have to go like this and put Weirding Wood on like the mountain. And then I go blue, blue, red, green. And I have a 4-4 to block their 3-3 and a 2-1 to block their 2-2. They're at 22, which is why I'm not just slamming in for 2 in the sky. That's tremendously suspicious. Let's see what they got, though, because I've got a layer of the Hydra that can kill the bullet. Skewer the critics. Okay, that's not terrible. That's a 2-for-1. Trade their 2-2 and a 3 damage burn spell to kill my 4-4. The Rousing Reed. Just need to leave the layer of the Hydra mana up. I've got enough to make it a 5-5. Now Cloud Conceer is not blocking because it's just a trump block. Okay, block the bullet with the layer. There's a Reclaim the Wastes for some fixing. Grab any 2 basics from their deck, put them in their hand, just a forest and a swamp. And I think they just didn't notice our land, which is really good for us. Draw a card with this clue. Find a Hollow Henge Scavenger, which I do have the mana to play if I just want to play a beefy creature on the ground. I think that's pretty fine, but I'm going to get greedy and play Thieving Otter, Rousing Reed. So if they don't deal with the Thieving Otter, that's going to draw me so many cards over time. Actually, discard the Scavenger here. Keep Slimefoot and Invading Manticore. Alright, let's go. Drawn to a Chillbringer now. Ooh, find a Sleep with the Fishes. I'm just going to play Slimefoot and start making life-draining Sapperlings. Because Slimefoot is a fungi. Technically I had lethal with Lair of the Hydra there, but we're playing it safe, we'll just say that. Pass turn. Bunch of lands from our opponent, and that is going to end that game. I think we are... I don't even remember. I think we're 2-0. Been kind of long games. Here we are for game 3. Runner for the awkward mana openers, but we've got the Weirding Wood this time, so much like game 2, I'm not gonna mulligan. This is not a game 1 situation, or a round 1 situation where I mulliganed. Playing against blue-white, probably a lot of flyers over there. They do start with a Sky Crier, so a little scared about that. Because they're on the play, and they are starting with a 2-drop creature. Luckily, no 3-mana play, and I draw into an island, so I could just Cloud Conceer. It's not going to be a great trade for the 1/1 flying lifelinkers, so I'm just going to set up my mana. Still. This will give me 5 mana to play around with next turn, which is enough to play the Seer and draw the card from the clue. And this will just make mana a little less tight in the future, and give me the option of playing Slimefoot early if I really want to, but I don't think that'll be... Ooh, that's a great draw. I was going to say I don't think that'll be the case. So we're going to play Cloud Conceer, and I'm holding up Omen of the Forge and the Clue token. So here is the counterspell from our opponent. They are going to Essence Capture onto the Sky Crier. I think I will Omen the Crier then. A 2/2 Flying Lifelink is about the best thing 2 damage is going to kill. So we'll just clear that out while they're tapped out before they have mana for potential negate or something. Six mana next turn, still not enough to Slimefoot and make a sapling the turn I play it, but I could Slimefoot and Scry off of the Omen. Or Slimefoot, draw a card off the Clue, and opt. Could be fine. Alright, here is a Glimmerbell. And we'll drop the Slimefoot. I've definitely got nothing to bait a counterspell out with. Got 2 lands and an opt. So Slimefoot resolves at least. And there is a Censor. They're going to cycle that, so that's why it took so long. They have a counterspell in hand, but counters unless I pay 1. So it would not have countered Slimefoot at this point. Glimmerbell is going to poke me for 1. We are down to 17. There's a Moat Piranhas for a 3/3 defender on the ground. And I think I need to go for straight card draw right now. We need to be able to play some stuff next turn, rather than just hoping off the scries. Okay, get rid of that Guildgate, draw a card. Find a Lordrakis. Nothing great to pick up with that right now. I'll draw off of this and I'll stop on my upkeep in case I still don't have any good plays. I can scry before I draw. Rousing Reed. I don't really want a Rousing Reed on Slimefoot. So I kind of awkwardly think I do scry in my upkeep here. Alright, well, happy to get that out of the way. Let's see what we hit. Still more lands. Alright, well, we're not under any pressure, so I guess I can just play an untapped land and make a Sapperling, but not doing much. I could still Rousing Reed just to draw 2, discard 1. But as long as I'm not under immense pressure, I'd rather wait for now. Now I am taking 2 damage in the sky every turn, so Rousing Reeding Slimefoot looks a little bit more tempting. It is still giving flying to my card that's already my biggest threat. It's my only threat. But I'm definitely not going to want to Rousing Reed a Sapperling. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Chillbringer is the draw. If that is the case, I can cast a Chillbringer and a Rousing Reed here. We go Chillbringer first. But then I do think I Rousing Reed on Slimefoot, since giving a flyer flying is not... I mean, it's going to make it 4 power, which is also good. But a 3/4 is also great. I'm going to read on the Slimefoot. I feel like if they had removal for Slimefoot, they would have killed it during their end step while we were tapped out. Cool, so I get a draw 2, discard 1, and there's some pretty good draws, an Aviation Pioneer and an Oasis Ritualist. And Glimmerbell does get to untap itself, but I've got the 3/3 to block it. Oh, it untaps for 2 mana. I thought it was 3 mana. Okay, then I just pass. But yeah, we still got the blockers up for Glimmerbell. They're definitely big enough. There's a Ritual Guardian, which doesn't really do anything. Yeah, we're just trying to draw a Meteor Swarm or a Mythos, and then we have the Lord Drakis to really close out the game. And we've already drawn about halfway through our deck, so we're doing pretty good on that front. And a Manticore is a great draw. I also have the 8 mana to just start using Slimefoot twice a turn and trying to grind out the game with that, which is a reasonable option. I think once I have 8 mana, I can play Manticore and Aviation Pioneer in one turn, which is pretty awesome. Let's actually just go for 8 mana stuff right now and just go like Ritualist plus 1 Saproling. Still more than good enough to stop all of their attacks right now. And this way I am committing to actually getting some value out of Slimefoot before they potentially draw a removal spell for him. There's a Saheeli Sublime Artificer. So as they cast more non-creature spells, they keep getting 1/1s. Slimefoot should be able to outpace that pretty well, but if they get a big, scary artifact on board, they can make all of their artifacts copies of that. Or a really scary creature, they can make one of their artifacts a copy of their scariest creature. We have found the Meteor Swarm. Could kill everything but the Glimmerbell, or Glimmerbell plus Mentor and do 1 to Saheeli, something like that. I've got the Lord Drakis, so this is definitely the play. I think I want to kill the Glimmerbell and just start hitting them in the sky, so let's kill the Glimmerbell and the Ritual Guardian. And then do 2 damage to Saheeli, because why not? So 3 targets. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess we can just clear out Saheeli with 1 attack from a flyer this turn. So might as well. Saheeli's gone, we drop Aviation Pioneer, pass the turn. Whenever we need to Meteor Swarm again, I've definitely got the mana to mutate off double blue and then Meteor Swarm afterward. I mean, I've got 4 red mana, so I could even mutate with red-blue. Hey, Sunfall. My bomb's pretty good. Sunfall is better, but they're still going to lose this game if they don't keep top decking some great stuff. But Sunfall is one of the biggest bombs in the history of draft, so it's an incredibly brutal, oppressive card in its own format where you can draft like a super synergistic deck. Even more ridiculous in a Chaos draft. If I Lord Drakis now, I've got 2 4/5s, which still doesn't double block and kill a 9/9. But if I pick up Meteor Swarm, that doesn't kill a 9/9 either. Well, never mind. I guess we aren't still winning the game right now. We can hope. They miss a couple draws here. It's actually very close to just a top deck war. 8 power and 10 toughness versus 9 power, 9 toughness. Pretty good start to the top deck war. There's a Demon Bolt. Double block the 9/9 and Demon Bolts it. It's only a samurai or warrior attacking alone, so Subduer's not going to do anything unless they top deck something else. I think I pick up Meteor Swarm even though it's not good against the 9/9. Helps against if they just try to play a bunch more creatures. Okay, they hit a land this time. They kill a 4/5 and we Demon Bolt the 9/9. Then might have to Meteor Swarm the Subduer. Which would be rough. But technically it could just attack by itself and hit me for 3 if I don't hit another creature. Yeah, land here. Oh, my life total is halved if I don't kill the Subduer immediately. Okay. It's a top deck war. They have 10 more life than me, but I have a 4/5 and they have nothing on board. Let's see. Oh, Lair of the Hydra's huge. That kills them like next turn, even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Carfell Harbinger. Just a 1/3. Let's go, Lair of the Hydra. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can do 9, I believe. Yep. It's 13 damage if they don't chump, so they have to chump. Beautiful. Lair of the Hydra coming in real hot here, because could you imagine if that was just another forest? So much better than just any other land in our deck as the draw. They strategic planning and find the Deputy of Detention to exile the Manticore, but they're gonna have to chump block the Lair of the Hydra. And now I think I have the mana to kill them. I'm not even gonna do the math, I'm just gonna try the inspiration. I'm going to try to do x equals 8. Oh, I'm 1 mana off. I am 1 mana off because it was highlighting the layer as well. So I had to layer for 7 and put them to 1. So I should have done the math before that attack, because technically if I wasn't going to just kill them in one swing there, which I wasn't, I was only going to put them to 1 life, then I should have just activated the layer and made them chump blocks so I could still have the 3 damage burn spell left behind for their next creature. So I was actually loose, but it worked out fine for us because we drew incredibly well in the end of that game. Lair of the Hydra being the huge MVP, and we are now 3-0 as we head into game 4. And here we are now for game 4. Definite keep. Probably the best mana we've had so far. Basically just a mono blue hand, but we have a blue source, which is all we need until quite a bit later for Lord Dracus. Our mana sources are great for whatever we draw onto. We've got the black source for Slimefoot, we've got double green for any green cards we hit. Alright, let's get things rolling. Jungle Hollow turn 1 and pass from there. Cabaretti Courtyard for our opponent, which can grab a mountain, forest, or plains, get it into play and gain a life. Draw into a Slimefoot. Beautiful. Beautiful draw with the mana that we have right now. If they don't play a creature turn 2, I might be tempted to play Thieving Otter and try to get some card draw going. And they don't play a creature. We find a Jungle Hollow. I'm going to actually scry out of that, looking for a red source mostly. But untapped land is good too. We do find an island. Let's play the second blue for Mythos, and I'm going to draw up a Thieving Otter since they haven't played any creatures, and now even if they do get a 2-power creature on board, we could mutate Lordrakis onto the Thieving Otter, just to make it a 2/3 so that they don't have a good block for it. We will pick up an Opt when we do it, but obviously that's not why we put Lordrakis in the deck, but it could be worth it here. Just +0/+1, draw an Opt. Yeah? And then they can't just trade off into the Otter, all they could do is trump here. Although, drawing into Mythos of Aluna mana, now I can Mythos, draw a card, and kill their Llanowar Visionary. Yeah, I mean, now that I have a Mythos coming up, I'm pretty okay with just trading Thieving Otter into the Visionary. If they want to take that trade, and if they don't, I just get to draw a card for free here. Okay, they do want to take the trade. Because now I want to actually wait on Lordrakis, because we're guaranteed to double Mythos with red-green mana as well, which is insane. So we'll just play Cloudkin Seer. And pass from there. Here's the Seize the Spoils. They're going to discard a card, draw 2, and get a treasure token. They discarded a forest. Play a Wooded Ridgeline. There's a Meteor Swarm that will be beautiful in the future. We gotta find an Oasis Ritualist or a Weirding Wood first, though. Alright, keep the pressure on. Keep jamming out some beef. Having that Mythos whenever they play a blocker so we can copy our Hollowhenge Scavenger and just kill their blocker, or if they play a really good creature, we'll copy their creature. Go from there. Feeling really good about this hand, unless our opponent has a board wipe or something crazy. Mythos of Vadrox. They've got their own Mythos, but it's just 5 damage to one creature here. Kill our 4/5. 6 mana, not quite the 7 mana that I would love to have to play Slimefoot and make a Sapling, but I guess we're just playing Slimefoot. Because right now all we're doing is dropping some dorks to the board. Our 2 strongest cards in hand are not going to be played until they have something we need to kill. Especially the Meteor Swarm, because we also just don't have the mana to cast it. There's a Pima Aetherseer. 3/2 that comes with 3 energy. They can make something forced to block, and then a Guiltgrove Stalker, just a 2/1. Well, there's still nothing great to Mythos here, because none of these creatures are going to fight and win. You kind of hate to see it. Meteor Swarm would be incredible. But we need to find another red source. 2 more lands, 2 dorks to find for that. Do I just Mythos a Cloudkin Seer to draw another card? Maybe. They can force Slimefoot to block, which is not good. I could just use this as a removal spell and get rid of the Aetherseer. And then just put it back in my hand. Sure. I mean, draw a card, kill an Aetherseer. It's a good deal. It's not as insane as Mythos could be. But I have the Lordrakis to return the Mythos. Find a Deeproot Wayfinder? Cool. Now I have something cheap enough to play instead of mutating Lordrakis right now. Oh no, 1 mana combat trick to kill Slimefoot? That'd be exceptionally rude. Alright. It's super rude. I'm still definitely in the lead, so we're fine. But That is very sad. So yeah, I can mutate with Lordrakis blue-red to mutate and then still have double blue-red-green up for the full Mythos. There's a lightning strike for the flyer off of their Reckless Impulse. Fearless Scald, though. They go for a big double strike swing this turn. Okay. Again, Meteor Swarm starting to look better and better. Oh, the Atsakan Archer, after they make their 2-1, have 2 toughness. That's some horrible timing, Archer. Get out of here. Am I just gonna Mythos a Cloud Concealer again? And just lose it during combat? I really think I am, honestly. Which is kind of hilarious. Rather draw a card or give something double strike and a counter. Could hit them for 6 if I take their Scald. I'm just gonna get greedy though. I'm just gonna draw another card. Surveil a land, beautiful. So get a little bit of ramp there. There's Lightning Strike for the flyer. And they're gonna fight the Deeproot Wayfinder. Focus for 3. Drop a mountain. 1 card in their hand. We can Inspiration the Stalker, discard this forest to draw a card. Find an Izzet Guildgate for the Meteor Swarm. And this is an 11 turn clock. It's 1 damage a turn, so I'm just going to hold on to the Archer till they maybe play a 1 toughness card. 1 toughness Death Toucher is just a trade with the Archer, so I'm not super into that. We'll just play the Pioneer and pass from there. I'll trade the 1-2 Pioneer into the 1-1 Death Toucher all day long. Or we find an Omen of the Forge. Still think I'd rather trade a 1-2 into it than an Omen of the Forge, so we'll just attack with everybody and see if they want to trade there. If not, that's fine too. Alright, there's Magma Spray for our flyer. Poke them for 1, they're down to 10. I'm going to take turns poking each other for 1. I go Gift of Wrath. Well, Omen of the Forge instant speed in response to that is disgusting. Yep, that's super filthy, so they get nothing off of the Gift of Wrath. And they are going to scoop them up now. We are 4-0, still undefeated with our 4-color pile. Mainly just blue, red, green, but that Slimefoot's been showing up in almost every game as well, so really nice stuff from the deck all around. We'll see if we can't keep it up as we head into game number 5. And here we are for game 5. No red source is actually a pretty big bummer with Igneous Inspiration here, but I really like that turn 2 Wayfinder into a Chillbringer later in the game, and any blue or red source will give us the mana to mutate the Lordrakis. at a later point. And Oasis Ritualist is a beautiful draw if they don't just kill it. They are on black, so they might be one of these 50 removal spell style decks where we're going to have some big issues. But hopefully not. So they're on black-red. Alright, nothing so far. Hit a Rousing Reed, I do like that. Rousing Reed on the Wayfinder to make it flying to get past whatever they try to block it with, so we can keep trying to get those Surveil ramps. You may return a land from your grave to the battlefield tapped, so I could even discard a forest to it to guarantee it triggers. If I draw any lands off of this card. Would love to see them tap out for a creature on the ground this turn. Then I probably wouldn't even play Ritualist. I would just go for Rousing Reed on Wayfinder. Alright, well that works too, tapping out. I'll just get rid of the red card, I guess. Probably should get rid of the Lord Dracus as well. I mean, because I have Wayfinder to pick up this land, maybe I do get rid of a land and Lord Dracus. I'm still so greedy. I'm gonna get rid of Inspiration in the land here. I think I will still Rousing Reed the Wayfinder. Just to hit for 1 extra point. Keep it out of reach of 3 damage burn. Don't find another land off of it. Yet. Rid of the Argothian sprites. We guaranteed get a land back from grave here. And it'll be a Guildgate. Beautiful. Thank you for that Surveil. And we wouldn't have found that land if we didn't Rousing Reed towards it, digging 2 cards closer, since it was 3rd from the top, when I would have surveilled 1 if I just played Ritualist or something. If I had kept the land there, so I think that all worked out super fine. And now we're just fingers crossed they don't have a black removal spell on this, and they don't. No reach creature either, so Wayfinder's guaranteed to give us another land now. Could even play at Shieldbringer this turn. I've got the 5 mana up. Okay, Archer is actually not that exciting right now. I'll mill that. But I'll pick up a forest, I'll play land for turn and Shieldbringer down the Archer. Hit them for 6 in the sky, 2 turns in a row, that would kill them. So we're talking about a game that might be ending pretty quickly here. They have a lot of spells in their hand, though. So a lot more to potentially do. Alright, they're just going to hold all their mana up for probably instant speed removal. We will find out here. Send in the squad. They take the full 6, they're down to 6. Deeproot Wayfinder finds an invading Manticore that I would be perfectly happy to draw into. So I'll hold on to that. Play an Oasis Ritualist. Pass. Still Lord Dracus for my 3 damage burn spell in the future. Find the last 3. Finish them off, potentially. Especially with Ritualist on board to exert and give me double red. Feel pretty safe to hold on to the Lord Dracus to make it a surprise when I pick up the burn. Because this way they might just not block this turn, trying to find a kill on Shieldbringer later. Actually, I could even... I've got exactly enough mana to just do this. Okay, never mind. Disregard everything I said, because I can just do this anyway. And, just shoot them for 6. Oop. There we go. All right, that was some really nasty stuff from our deck there, and their removal spells were just a bit too slow to keep up with the very cheap, very aggressive cards, particularly the rare there, the 2-mana 2/3 that was just surveilling and setting up our draws while also ramping us up. That card put in a lot of work for us, and we are now 5-0 in the money for the first time, I believe, in these mixed up Premier drafts, which feels excellent here. Getting more gems than it costs to enter the event. Phenomenal place to be. And here we are now for game 6, keeping a triple red card in a hand with no red sources. Does look super awkward, but this Oasis Ritualist goes a very, very long way, as we have seen before. I only need to draw one mountain to potentially cast this Meteor Swarm. Our opponent is going to start off by foretelling a card. We've got the Thieving Otter Rousing Reed combo, which could be pretty great. Ooh, Seraph's Packmate, incredible value play. 2-mana 3/3 draw a card is insane. They did have to spend a couple mana early though, so it's not quite that. So play a Thieving Otter. We're going to start taking 2 damage a turn from this Packmate, because I'm not going to double block it with these two. I could. That would be offering a trade of Thieving Otter into it, but it's pretty bad against any instant speed removal or combat tricks. So for now, I'm going to use my life total as a resource and just take the damage from it. Okay, we really want to find a red source to the point where I think I'm definitely playing the Ritualist here. Just so I can get Mythos to where I kill something with it. So we just drop a Ritualist and pass. Because they have a 1/3 with reach, so Glimmerbell just runs into it. I could still Rousing Reed the Otter and just try to go for card draw into finding a mountain of some kind. Since all they could do is like chump there. Ooh, Surge Hacker Mech's another very good card. Super good 2-for-1. It's a removal spell and a beefy vehicle all in one. It's a 5/5 menace. Requires quite a lot of power to crew it, but it's still very good. I guess I could copy my own Surge Hacker Mech, but then I don't get the fight trigger off of it. So I'd rather just copy a Packmate and kill a Blightbelly Rat draw a card. Probably. Yeah. Grind out some card advantage plays here. Could kill the long legs too, so my Glimmerbell can start hitting them, but I don't think I need to do that. Pestilent Siphoner, beautiful. A 1 toughness creature for my archer. Like that quite a bit. And somehow our opponent has like a Phyrexia All Will Be One poison deck? What's going on here? That is impressive. So we try to snipe that Pestilent Siphoner with our archer. Beautiful. Get a 2-for-1 from the archer. Love to see that. No response to that means they probably don't have any interaction to where I can resolve Rousing Reed now and start attacking with the flying Packmate. Also dig for a mountain for Meteor Swarm. Not find a mountain. We find 2 more red cards, which is a little spooky, a little sketchy. I can cast all the spells outside of Meteor Swarm, so I guess I am discarding Aviation Pioneer. But I can only cast one of these per turn, which is fine. They're both very strong. Blood Crazed Paladin is going to be a 2-mana 3/3, sure. Can deal with 3/3s. I've got a 1/4 blocker and a 2/4 blocker. There's a Deadly Visit on my flyer, so they get to destroy that and Surveil 2 to set up their draws. Milling 2 swamps that they don't want to draw right now. I love Oasis Ritualist so much. I really want to get some flashback Amonkhet Remastered and Kaladesh Remastered drafts. Because again, I mean, I was feeling this in Brothers War with some of those retro framed artifacts, but it just made me want to do flashback drafts of Kaladesh. And these mixed up drafts, especially this one with the Ritualist, is just making me want to do Amonkhet Remastered flashbacks where you could do crazy Oasis Ritualist ramp decks that were super consistent. They were pretty sweet. I think I'm just dropping Manticore, right? Gotta put a nice roadblock onto the board here. Yeah, we'll just get that out. Swarm Guild Mage, that can give their whole board menace. That's very threatening. I was gonna say, still one red source away from just like kind of winning on the spot, and there it is, Weirding Wood. One, two, three, four, five, six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we do red, 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 and 3. Red, 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 1, 2. I'll have to exert Ritualist, but it's certainly worth it. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. We go boom. There you go. They don't have the power to crew right now. And they're just going to scoop them up. They are super done with it. We are 6-0, undefeated 6 games in a row here. And now we're very high in the money for this mixed up Premier Draft. Just really great stuff from this blue, red, green, black, splashy ramp deck. Does feel like these 3+ color value piles are really where it's at, especially when you have really good fixing like Ritualist and Weirding Wood. Those cards have been tremendously good for us. But also just having the bombs to make it to where it's worth it to be in these 4 or 5 color plus splashy decks is really important. Like if we didn't have a Meteor Swarm and a Mythos, like there wouldn't be a huge point in playing a big grindy 4 or 5 color deck like we're doing here. So it is definitely still RNG dependent, depending on if you can find those bombs in your draft pot. And we've had a lot of drafts where there just wasn't enough power to really be any point to play a 4 color 5 color deck. There's just nothing to splash in. So I don't know. I think it is where to be when there are the powerful cards to go for it. And there certainly were this draft. So I really need red sources. I think I have to mulligan this hand. I still really need triple red, but that turn 2 Deeproot Wayfinder can go a long way here. And get rid of the Glimmer Bell and hope for no removal. I probably should just not be greedy and get rid of the Meteor Swarm. But you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm all about greed. See, look, it's perfect. We immediately hit a red source, and now Deeproot Wayfinder is going to find another red source because the average 2-drop creature isn't big enough to trade into that. Oh, well, that's not big enough to trade into it, but it's certainly big enough to stop it here. And I'm going to have to just play 2 islands in a row, so my Lair of the Hydra is going to come in tapped later, which is awkward. But yeah, I have to play 2 islands in a row towards locking down the Seed Sculptor, so I should have played an island earlier. Ooh, Ritualist. Well, now we just win if they don't kill my Ritualist. Sometimes greed is good. Sometimes. I mean, we'll find out. This is the last opportunity for them to kill Ritualist and not lose the game. But if they don't kill Ritualist, then greed is great. I guess they only like lose if they play like a 1 toughness creature here. Oh my god, we're just going to keep hitting red sources? Is Meteor Swarm even that good? Just killing 2 things. Yes. Because I'll still have Sleep with the Fishes for the next threat, and I'll get a Wayfinder attack in. They might have a counterspell, though, here. They had 3 mana up and nothing to do. I mean, I'm just going to have to see. I should have played my Lair of the Hydra. I don't know why I didn't disregard that. You saw nothing? That's actually a really big punt, because now if they play something that I don't need to Sleep with the Fishes next turn, I don't get to just activate my Lair instead. Satiable Appetite. Okay, so they can save one of them, which is annoying. But still a 2-for-1. I still killed one of their creatures and a combat trick at the price of 1 card. Skulker, I think, is annoying enough to Sleep with the Fishes. Could save it for a scarier creature later, but that's kind of scary. I mean, I could block it. Unless they do nothing but dump their mana into that. I'm going to want to start just dumping my mana into Lair of the Hydra next turn, though. Which is another reason to just sleep right now. I'm going to pass, though. I feel like I just let that hang out for now. Just outrace it with Lair of the Hydra and save Sleep with the Fishes for something that would actually put them in a winning position instead of just a racing position. Like that card does. Down to 17. Find an Aviation Pioneer. I can play that, or I can just jam in with a Lair. Lair would be a 4/4. 5/5 with Ritualist. I'm just going to jam in with the Lair. The fight is on. They play a land. There's an Iron Apprentice, which doesn't change things. It does mean they get to chump block my Lair of the Hydra and put a counter onto the Skulker. Start hitting me for 4 unblockable every turn instead of just 3. Guildgate's a nice draw. Now even if Ritualist dies, I can cast Meteor Swarm if I lower Dracosit back. I think I'm just going to make Lair 5 again. And this time hold up Ritualist as a blocker, so they have to spend the mana towards Skulker. And we are getting to the point. Skulker is going to be a 4-power unblockable creature, so we'll have to just Sleep with the Fishes at this point. Giving them long enough to play a better creature, where if they had one, they would have jammed it out. Alright, life goes out. Life goes on. I swear to God I can speak English. That's going to give them a lot of breathing room here. Give them a gain 8 for 1 mana, which is wild. It's crazy how much they've pushed life gain to where they're like, yeah, life gain doesn't matter too much in draft or standard or anything. It's got to be a lot of life gain to be worth it. How much can we push? They're like, what about 8 life for 1 mana, but only if a creature died? Like, yeah, I mean, it's fair. It's narrow. It's narrow for sure. Doesn't impact the board in any way. It's a fair card. 1 mana, gain 8. Send in a 4/6 Skulker. I guess it is big enough now that even with an untapped Ritualist, I'm not blocking. But again, they could just spend the 4, make it unblockable if they didn't draw something expensive anyway. It's an Archer. That doesn't do anything against our opponent here. Alright. Let's have the Skulker Sleep with the Fishies. I could make a Lair of the Hydra a 3/3, which doesn't really attack this turn anyway, so we play the Pioneer and pass. I could send them with these two. That does a net total of 1 damage to them. I guess 1's better than 0. Especially if they block like this and we get to actually surveil. Okay. Expected the other way around, but really happy with that. Maybe they have a removal spell? Nope. I was going to say maybe something to finish off the Ritualist post-combat is why they wanted to do that. But they probably just didn't read the full text on each card. Here's a Travel Preparations. I do like that card a lot. 4 +1/+1 counters total off of 1 card. You get 2 onto 2 different creatures. They've got a really beefy lifelinking blocker now. So now we're just sending in the lair. 6, 7. Lair of the Hydra has been so great. It's done so much work for us in a lot of these games. Another 3/6. They have the meats. The Ocean Medic's coming in strong. Alright, it's gonna gain them 3. Rousing Reed. Ooh. I can't put this on my Lair of the Hydra. Probably put it on the Wayfinder then. Find Weirding Wood, Argothian Sprite. I'm going to discard the Archer. They don't seem like they're playing a lot of 1 toughness cards. Let's get a clue. I'm kind of taking a turn off of hitting them with the lair, but that's fine. Just hit them in the sky and surveil, draw a card off the clue after I surveil. Igneous Inspiration, I'll keep it. I'll draw it off the clue. I could cast it if I exert, but their stuff is 6 toughness, so we're probably just shooting their face with it later. Gain their 3 life again. It'll land. Force a chump block. I'm just gonna guess we're at like 10. Well, that is the correct guess. We're at exactly 10. I mean, they have to chump that, so I could send, like, everybody in. I'm gonna hold the 2/4 to block the medic still, though. But yeah, they're just gonna scoop them up. That is a ridiculous board state, and they are over it. So we are 7-0. I believe that's the whole draft. I think that was a 7-win run there. I mean, we'll find out. Ooh, Temporal Anchor. Yeah, 7-win run, undefeated, 0 losses. Pretty big whiplash, a bunch of 3-3s, 2-3s, and 4-3s for all of our early drafts of this format. And we kind of clumped up all of our good luck into this one draft where it's just 7 wins in a row, 0 losses under our belt this time around. Not a whole ton to say other than this deck was a massive overperformer overall. Really, really great rares, all 3 of them being massive MVPs. Mythos of Aluna helped us grind out a lot of those games, being a removal spell plus draw a card a lot. Meteor Swarm being 2 or 3 removal spells in 1 was always fantastic, and Lair of the Hydra was a huge finisher. And the fact that one of our lands was also like a giant creature was very helpful as well in some of those top deck wars. That card played incredibly. Ritualist and Weirding Wood were insanely good for that double mana of any one color. Both of these cards really helping get to the Meteor Swarm, as well as fix our main colors. Slimefoot showed up a ton in the early half of the draft and played out very well in those games. Deeproot Wayfinder, another great rare, did a lot of work in our last few games. Everything in the deck really got to show up and do some pretty crazy stuff. So biggest overperformers kind of go to the whole stack of like rares basically. But number one, I think I gotta give it to Lair of the Hydra. The flexibility of having this instead of just any other land. Like, replacing a land slot in your deck is so easy, and this was often just one of the strongest spells we played all game, and it wasn't even a spell. Just constantly doing incredible stuff for us. We got a surprise block off of it once to kill a creature for free. We ended several games with it. It was absolutely absurd, as were a lot of cards in this deck. And biggest underperformer, I'm going to have to give that to the Atsakan Archer. I think I expected a little more 1 toughness cards than I ended up seeing, but we killed 1 card with this, I think all draft, and we had it in our hand several times where I was just holding on to it, wanting to try to kill a 1 toughness card and never finding a good target for it. So the Archer did not really find the creatures to snipe, so that one was a bit of a bummer, but overall, incredible stuff with this deck, and we gotta be super happy about the 7-win undefeated run. Our prizes are a pack of Rivals of Ixalan, War of the Spark, Ikoria, and Strixhaven School of Mages, and of course a 5th pack, a 6th pack, and 2,200 gems. Beautiful draft all around. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.